A change in temperature produces a proportional change in the height of mercury in a glass tube. That's the whole principle of a thermometer. I know that mercury is going to raise so far for every increase in temperature. So I can mark it on a glass bulb and I can read the temperature. That's the concept behind it. It's always going to be that certain amount, which is a linear relationship. A change in the depth of an underwater diver produces a proportional change in the pressure on his skin. Right now, do you have pressure on you? You have atmospheric pressure pushing in on you right now. You have atmospheric pressure pushing in on you right now. What happens when you go up in altitude? You get less. And therefore, what happens to your ears in the airplane? They pop, trying to balance the pressure, right? Because where's more pressure at when you go up in an airplane? Inside. It's inside your body you have more pressure. You talk about what happens in a tornado. What happens in a tornado? Does a house fall out or does a house collapse in? What used to be the thing back in, I don't know, maybe in elementary, maybe I'm thinking, I don't know how old you are and when it changed. Oh, first of all, when the tornado alarm would go off and we're supposed to head down to the locker room, it used to be one thing they would tell students to do is go and open up the windows. Why? Because of pressure. You want to balance the pressure between inside and outside so that it either doesn't put too much pressure on it that it collapses in, or there's too much pressure inside that it explodes out. Now, which one happens? Well, you think about what happens with an increase in speed. What happens with an increase in velocity? Let's back up. What does an airplane wing look like when you look at it from the side? Like that? Possibly? Okay, the best I can do for being a non-artist. It's bigger in the front, right? This is the front, and this is the back. So you think about it and imagine this. I have this, there's my wall of air, okay? And what's going to happen with that wall of air? Okay, the wing's actually moving, but we're going to say this. When it hits here, think about what has to happen. It's going to go straight through, right? It's going to do this with the wing. But what happens if I was one of those air molecules and I had to stay with my buddy? So here's one and here's the other. And we want to end up right back over here together. In order for us to be together, I want to make sure I'm this one right here. Why? Because what about how fast I have to go versus how fast they have to go? They're going to have to go faster, right? Okay, my wing's not very good. But the top has got this loop that they're going to have to take, so they're going to have to go faster. You think about it, well, okay, we don't march in band, but think about when you go around a corner in band, what does the inside person do on the turf? On the curve. They have to do kind of a march in place and just kind of pivot their body, right? What about the outside people? I mean, they are stepping big steps to get around that curve, right? Because they have to go faster to maintain your straight line. That's what's happening here. Okay, when you do that, they have to go faster, so you have a higher speed up here. The speed is greater. So you have a fast speed. Okay, what happens with a fast speed? What do you think happens to the pressure? Fast speed. What would happen to the pressure? Do you know which way things move based off of pressure? High to low or low to high?
Low. Like low pressure, stuff bounces higher, like on the boom.
Pressure. Do things move from high to low or low to high? When you apply pressure on something, what's it do? After you let go, it's going to come back up because you decrease the amount of pressure you were applying to it. Things move from high to low pressure.
I don't know. It
Newton's motion.
It's like the gradient.
It's going to move. Things are going to, okay, think about this. Think about, you diffuse something until you reach what? Equilibrium. So you're trying to reach that equilibrium from high to low. Things are going to move from high to low. You always say, do things move from hot to cold or cold to hot? Hot to cold. So we have this speed here. Here's something you could try. And sometimes I get it out and we do a little science experiment here. But be careful when you do this. Please don't wear Bertrand clothing when you do it in McDonald's or Runza or Pizza Hut or whatever, please. Just do it what the science teacher said. Well, math teacher said. Take your straw, and what I want you to do is I want you to see, well, no, let's even back up yet. How does a chicken water work? Does everybody know what I mean when I say a chicken water? Besides Sarah, who does chicken? She knows because she has this question. You get this, oh, that's really bad. Okay, you get like this can thing right here, and sometimes it's even kind of dome shaped right there, or whatever. You get the can thing, and then you got this tray below it. And then this is all water right in here. How does that actually work? I mean, what happens? We could do it with anything. You could do it with,
Oh, you can do that with first. You see water, but sometimes you see it from food now, for the cat things. Yeah. They can do that too. I know, I just want to make sure that, I haven't seen the right height, because my bottle will go down and fill the sink. Yeah, I said it was gross, we just never talked about it. We don't run the water in here, this is why I tell you don't fill the water bottles in here, because it's gross for the pump. And if you've ever been here during the summer, you'll notice that the toilets get this rusty look to it too, because they're not flushed over yet. I'm glad to hear you dig up there. Okay, obviously, the rest of this. This would overflow, right? But this is how chicken water works. It's not all running out right now. Why is it not all running out right now? And it's not sand wiggling it, so there is room around it. Why? The pressure inside the bottle is the same as the atmospheric pressure that's pushing down on the water right here, outside of the bottle, right? But then what happens when we drink some water down? The water goes down, well then the water in the bottle is going to come out, right? But if I were to lift this up, of course the water in the bottle is going to come out. But why can I turn this upside down? It's all because of pressure. It all deals with pressure. What happens if I were to keep this like this and all of a sudden a low current comes in? or a high front. High pressure. That's what they're talking about when they say, well, cold and hot, high and low pressure. That's all the same thing, and it's going to change the depth of this, right? How do you think barometers work? Why do you think people say they can tell a difference? Because you have pressure pushing down on your joints or whatever else, those old football injuries, whatever you have that, then of course you're going to be able to tell some things. You think you can't tell the difference in pressure when you go down to the bottom of the deepest end of the pool? Yeah, you can't. You can tell the difference on the pressure. You talk about that pressure right there. It all works. So if I talk about this and I say a high pressure comes in, if a high atmosphere, if there's a high pressure coming in, it's going to push down on that water, right? What's going to happen to the water? Where's it going to go? Because can you compress water? No. A liquid, a fluid, you cannot compress. Where's it going to go? Up into the bottle. It goes up into the bottle, and then you talk about a low front comes in, low pressure, and what's that going to do? Is that going to push down on this water as much? It's going to raise it, which is going to do what? Drop it in the bottle, because there's more pressure in here than there is outside. So the higher pressure in here is going to push down on it, causing it to move. That's how it works in a tube of toothpaste. You apply pressure, what happens? It goes out the other end. Things move which way? High to low. You squeeze on it, and it goes from high to low. Things move from high to low. Now you have the question of what happens with wind speed. With wind speed, that's what you want to be careful of. Wind speed, this is what I was going to tell you to do. You have to have a straw that doesn't have a whole bunch of height above your fluid level. Take your fluid, maybe do it at home so you don't make a fluid or something. Color some water with some food coloring so you can at least see and you don't think it's big. That's one thing we have to do at school if I perform this, if I were teaching physics or science class. Fill it with water so you know it's actually the water in the container. Put your straw in there and blow across the top of the straw. What do you think you're doing to the pressure? What do you think is going to happen with the liquid? It's going to go up, meaning that as I increase the velocity across the top of the straw, what's it do to pressure? Decreases it because the fluid's going to come up the straw. So an increase in speed, you think about that top part. If I'm that air molecule that's got to run around the top curve of that airplane wing, what's going to happen to the pressure? The pressure is going to drop. And what's going to happen to your plane? It's going to lift up. That's part of that concept. You sit there and take a piece of paper, take a pencil or a straw, take a piece of paper, fold it over it so it's got this nice teardrop shape, staple it on the end, and then blow across the top of it. And it should lift that little tail piece up. Same concept as what you're doing with the straw blown across the top of it. Hold the paper on the other side. Somebody hold paper on the other side, and you'll see the splattering of that colored water. Not spit. Some people, yeah, we see spit there. We get the colored water droplets on there. And you can see that when you increase the velocity, you're going to decrease the pressure. And things move from high to low. That's what causes an airplane wing to lift. I know it does. I could talk about science for a long time. Oh, so back to all this got off because we started talking about pressure on the bottom when you go down in the water. What happens? There's a disorder that happens. Okay, you think about this too. Okay, even though I should have went and got a pop. Okay. When you're the smart one and not drinking at a college party, because you can make lots of money off of this. You're drunk, you lose lots of money. They take all your money when you order another round and you don't know any different. Then all of a sudden, the $100 you have, where to go? So you're smart, you're not drinking. You take your pop and you tell somebody, I bet, sit there and shake it. And then say, I bet I can open this without it spraying all over. What happens? Why does it spray all over? When you shake it, what happens?
carbonated.
You're increasing the pressure inside, right? Because when you shake it, that carbonation is coming out of solution. And you're trying to fit all these gas molecules that are, because that's what carbonation is, right? You're adding a gas into your drink so that when you open it, you get the bubblies. And you get the bubblies because it's the gas molecules coming out of solution. And why are they coming out of solution? Because of a pressure difference. So what you're doing is you're shaking it up and you're causing that gas to come out of the liquid solution. And you have that little bit at the top of your bottle, right? That's air. Can you compress air?
Yes.
Yes, you can compress air. But can you compress the fluid? No. So you're getting all this air stored up in here. And you still got some in here. And then all of a sudden you open that and you have high pressure inside, low pressure outside, and things move from high to low, and it sprays out all over the place. So how can you decrease that? You can make money off of this, I'm telling you, because you got all these drunk people around. Shake it up and say, but here's the thing, I'm not strong enough to do this, so I have to. Because my grip is really bad. So you sit there, shake something up or drop something and then say, oh, I bet I can open this without. And as you're sitting there saying $10, you either need to, if you got a strong grip, squeeze it as you're sitting there saying, I bet I can open this without it spraying all over. Squeeze it while you're doing it. Now, if you're like me and you don't have enough, you just gotta like stand up to the counter. I bet I can open this and push it up against the counter so that it's applying pressure there because you can't squeeze hard enough. And then I can almost guarantee you can go through and you can open it and it's not going to spray all over. You can do it with your hand too. Back when I had physics and principles of technology, we'd all get a pop filter handy. We'd go outside and they'd be like, oh, let's try can, let's try bottle, let's try Dr. Pepper, let's try Mountain Dew, let's try Coke, let's try everything. And then we go outside and everybody just shaking it up. Okay, 10 minutes. Shake, try to squeeze. And then for a while, and then they open it up. See if you can like the least amount of anything. It works. It really does. Why? Because what are you doing when you're squeezing it, trying to convince them that you can open it without it spraying all over? You're squeezing it, which is applying pressure on the outside, which is doing what to that just came out of solution? It's putting those gas bubbles that came out of solution that created the large pressure in there, and it's putting it back into solution and decreasing the pressure on the inside. So that when you open it up, do you have that pressure difference? No. And it's not going to spray all over the place. What happens to your body when you talk about coming to the surface too quick? What is that disorder called? The gas comes out of solution. Let me help you out. Ben's disorder. What happens? Here's what happens. You're right. When that pressure changes, you have this, you're down low and you have a lot of pressure on your body. You come up and what happens? Pressure decreases, pushing on your body. So things move from high to low. The gases in your bloodstream come out of solution. They come out of your blood, basically. They come out of solution and you get air bubbles in your blood. And you die from that. What do? If you get that? You come up slowly. You got to come up slowly. But the other thing is sometimes they put you in a pressurized gas chamber. If you end up with it, because you can die from it. So if they can catch that before you die, if you can catch that before you die, because what's going to happen to your body? Same thing what happens with tornadoes. You sit there and you got all this pressure inside, little pressure outside, you explode. You explode. So what happens with the house? You get the high velocity outside. What kind of pressure is being created outside in a tornado? Low pressure, and what's inside? High. So what's happening to the house? It's exploding out. It's exploding out. They tell you to open the windows to equalize the pressure. That's what they used to tell us. Now we don't do it anymore. can't, and that's why they have those little hammer hooks or whatever you're supposed to have and stuff, because the pressure pushing in as your car is sinking and you're in that river, whatever, and the pressure pushing in on the glass, do you think you can break it out and you're pounding on it, whatever? Do you think you have enough force to overcome the pressure of the water pushing in on it? You know?
Well, like if you're with them.
If you're just starting, but the electronic ones, you're probably not going to be able to. But you think about submarines, do they have to worry about the pressures and how fast they actually come up to surface and everything? Yeah. Planes, what do planes do? You think about that, all of a sudden if you have an accident and the window or something busts out of a plane, what happens? Why? The cabin is supposed to be pressurized, but then all of a sudden you have that wind because the plane's flying, right? If we don't keep up a certain amount of speed, we're plummeting. So you've got this high wind speed on the outside, which decreases the pressure and things get sucked out. And you better hope you're strong enough to hold on to something.
Yeah. I heard that was.
Have you ever, a lot of those things, they have the glass, it's not like glass, you know, that type of stuff, like the bulletproof stuff. But you've seen it on the movies. Things would go outside of the plane.
Well, like when they
You're
open the
thinking about
door,
pressure.
everything starts.
But no, the cabs, the plane, and what the cab, I don't know. It's pressurized. To help with you with that elevation, your ears still may pop, but they really help with that change.
If you chew gum when you take off, it helps with your ears.
I can't tell you, I've never been to a plane, so don't know.
I had a terrible sinus infection, they were all clogged and stuff going on, and oh my god, my face hurt so bad, my ears hurt so bad, like all of me hurt so bad, like ruined my first
Well, I
day.
suppose because you have pressure inside anyway, and then you go up where the pressure outside isn't even as great, which makes the pressure inside even worse.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. And then the ride back didn't hurt at all. My ears popped at once and it was all good. I already experienced that terrible comparison.
There's days I would love to teach science, but
Yeah.
there's days I'm glad I don't.
didn't want to.